How do you know you're having a burnout or close to having a burnout? Let me share you 4 symptoms and how they were spotted by me in me. Number 1 is physically exhausted. So what does it mean? It means that although you had a good night, or even your night might interrupt it, but on that more later. But imagine you wake up in the morning and you just have a difficulty getting out of bed. And normally that would not have been an issue. Perhaps you would be, even go to the gym in the morning, but today it feels terribly, terribly difficult. I'm a morning person. I go to the gym at 6 a.m. in the morning, so I wake up every morning at 5:30. But when I had my burnout, I was not able to do that. So although I was a morning person, the alarm went off, I could not get myself out of bed. The last thing I wanted was actually do workout. Unfortunately, doing a workout or being outside and actually do some sports make you feel better. But even knowing that it would help me, I could not just do it. I was physically exhausted. But when I managed to get myself out of bed and do some work, I felt that around like 10 a.m. in the morning, I was already so much drained again from being in meetings and doing the daily job. But there's also another element that comes with it: memory. I experienced that my short-term memory was less than it used to be in a normal situation. It was sometimes so bad that it was like, 1 p.m. and I could not remember what I did at 8 or 9 or even 10 a.m. that morning. The physical exhaustion just makes you, preserve yourself. So the most important body functions will still work, obviously, because you need to survive. But everything that doesn't require much energy will get less energy. And one of those things is memory, especially short-term memory. I could remember everything that happened like months and weeks and years ago, but within the day I could just forget stuff. Pretty harmful if you need to perform at your peak at work. The second sign is emotionally drained. What does that mean? It means that although everybody has emotions and it's normal to have them and you should have them, but some things that would, for instance, give you joy back in the day are not so pleasant anymore. So you might, find music interesting, or being with friends, or dance, or whatever would give you joy, it's not that pleasurable anymore. It becomes even more of a drain than it provides you energy. And this is not great, because life is actually about enjoying those little moments or the things that you appreciate the most. But if you're emotionally drained, you have a difficulty enjoying that. It also means that at the other spectrum, the things that would, set you off back in the day also don't, hit you that much or have that much of an impact. It almost becomes that emotions, both positive and negative, so happiness and joy, anger and frustration, kind of is a flat line, which makes life even less interesting because I enjoy the peaks. So for me, this was music and singing. Actually, I could not enjoy it. I could not stand it, and it would just drain me. On the other hand, meetings that had no goal or just went on and on, normally I would say something, but when I had my burnout, I couldn't care less. I just went on autopilot, just powered through, and it didn't really hit me, nor negatively nor positively. And again, this is something I find tough, because when you're in a burnout and you're emotionally and physically drained, exhausted, it adds up, because the emotional part has an influence on the physical part, and the physical part again has an effect on the emotional part. So net, it's a vicious cycle that brought me further down and made me enjoy life less and less. Again, burnout is not a fun thing to experience. It's being in a dark place for a long time. So the third symptom of having a burnout is interrupted or disrupted sleep. I just said a dark place, and when I think of a dark place, I actually think about the bedroom and sleep. I knew I was having a burnout just after I was diagnosed with insomnia. So I went to the doctors because I had a difficulty falling asleep. Then I had a difficulty staying asleep. I woke up like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. And then later on, I just had a sleep quality issue next to the sleep quantity issue. So I went to the doctors, explained my problems, got diagnosed, and actually extra tests that showed me I had insomnia. That actually led to a further exploration, and it was not the insomnia, it was actually the burnout that caused the sleep issues. So people with burnout experience issues with sleep. I could, for instance, go to bed feeling super tired, emotionally and physically, and yet have difficulty falling asleep. I was either pondering on the past and could not let go and was still fixated on issues or things I did wrong or things that I thought were done wrong to me, which just made me grind into the past, and I could just not stop the train of thought, and I kept going and going, which caused me to experience less sleep. Or I would just wake up at 2 a.m., made the mistake of watching the clock, and then realize, oh, it's 2 a.m. and I'm wide awake. Now I need to go back to bed and I need to sleep. So this strong desire to want to sleep and the feel that you need to sleep actually makes your mind much more active than it should be. And I had a hard time falling back asleep. And if I would fall back asleep, it would be restless, in a dreamy state of mind, and then I would wake up again too early ahead of the alarm, but tired, drained, exhausted, not really looking forward to the day. So again, people with a burnout might experience issues with falling asleep or staying asleep or waking up way too early. I had all of them, and I promise you it's not helpful, because when you're already emotionally drained, physically exhausted, you need your good night rest. Rest is what you need to recover, and I need to learn to prioritize sleep above anything else. I will make a video on that because I learned a number of tricks and tips that I applied that make my sleep quality and quantity back where I needed to be. And right now I wouldn't call myself the king of sleep, but I think I mastered it and it feels so much better. Brings me to the fourth and last symptom of experiencing burnout. Although you're emotionally drained, you still can become very angry and frustrated about the smaller things. Seems a bit of a paradox, but my fuse was so short that the smallest thing could set me off into a frenzy and a rant, and it was not healthy, because it could be something I did wrong, and then I could be super angry with myself in an unreasonable fashion and be frustrated that I don't know, spilled something on the counter of the kitchen, just to give a simple example, or something, or somebody in my neighborhood or in my family did something which I found super irritating. But from a distance, it's nothing what they did or what happened, but it's just your short fuse and being irritable that blows it off the charts and makes you unreasonably angry and frustrated. And the thing is, I could not temper myself. It was just in an uncontrolled manner, because normally you want to have control over your emotions, dose it, and it's okay to ride a wave of frustration and and anger, but it should not have you be carrying away until the point of no control, and where it consumes almost the entire day with that emotion. So that said, there are 4 symptoms you need to be mindful of. 1, physically exhausted. 2, emotionally drained. 3, issues with falling asleep or staying asleep. And fourthly, having a short fuse and being irritable. Now, you need to be careful, because if you suffer from one of those for a short period of time, it's probably normal. But when actually 4 of them appear every day for a longer period of time, let's say a couple of weeks, then it's a clear signal that you are having a burnout or super close to having one. And there's only one thing you can do or should do, and that's get help as soon as possible. Look after yourself and look after each other.